Morning children, today we are going to discuss the topic protecting the rights of Dalits and Adivasis. Our country has specific laws that guard against the discrimination and exploitation of marginalized communities. I list out some rights which protect the rights of Dalits and Adivasis. 1. The Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribes Prevention of Atrocities Act was framed in 1989 to protect Dalits and Adivasis against the domination and violence of powerful caste. A number of assertive Dalit means a state of fact or belief confidently or forcefully. These kinds of group people came into being and asserted their rights. They refused to perform the so-called duties and insisted on being treated equally. So through these rights, they are asking equality, the right of equality. They don't want to do that so-called family duties. That means day by day they are doing their family work. They don't want to do that. They want to stop and they want to go forward and they need equality. 2. In the 1970s and 1980s, the Adivasi people successfully organized themselves and demanded equal rights and for their land resource to be returned to them. This act distinguishes several levels of crimes. It lists modes of humiliations. Humiliation means a feeling ashamed or foolish by injuring their dignity and pride. It lists mode of humiliations that are both physically horrific and morally reprehensible. Reference means evoke severe criticism. The actions that dispose Dalit and Adivasis of their meager resource means lacking in quality and quantity, which force them into performing slave labor. 3. Crime against Dalit and tribal women are of a specific kind and therefore seeks to be penalized. Penalize means to punish who use force on this woman. And next, manual scavenging. This is the one of worst performance done by the people. It is a pathetic situation for the people. Manual scavenging. It refers to the practice of removing human and animal water extra using brooms, tin plates and baskets from the dry latrine and carrying it on the head to disposal ground some distance away. In 1993, the government passed the Employment of Manual Scavengers and Construction of Dry Latrine Prohibitions Act. This law prohibits the employment of manual scavengers as well as the construction of dry latrines. So this is the pathetic situations of a people. How can they dispose the manual scavenging? That means that animal and human waste. How can they dispose? If anyone forces them to do this work, the government has passed to get a fine from them, rupees 200 as a fine or 1 year imprisonment. We still notice instances of atrocity against Dalit, minorities and lower section of society. This situation really needs to be taken care of by implementing the laws made by the government. By implementing the law, we can stop these kinds of atrocity against the Dalit and the minority classes. Or else, always they dominate by the powerful caste. The recent death of sewage workers put a horrific pictures in front of administrations and make us to think that in this advanced era of technology, we have to depend on the manual scavenging. Why should we do the manual scavenging? We are living in the modern era, the modern period. We have a lot of technology, but still we are not utilizing the technology to removing that manual scavenging. So this is that pathetic situations happening in our country. The next topic, Adivasi Demands and the 1989 Act. The 1989 Act is important because Adivasi referred to it to define the right to the occupied land that was traditionally theirs. Adivasi often unwilling to move from their land or forcefully displaced. This act, this 1989 Act, merely confirmed that the land belonging to the tribal people cannot be sold to or bought by non-tribal people. The non-tribal people cannot buy their land. That means the Dalit people land or the tribal people lands they cannot buy. Only they can use. The Adivasi and the Dalit people can use these kinds of land. Other cannot be use the land. Adivasi demand for the tribal rights to be preserved and their forest rights to be conserved which they had inherited. Adivasis always wanted their culture and the primitive method of living should not change. They should have privilege to their own living. They want to live in the traditions. They don't want to change the culture and the primitive method of living because that is the pride of theirs. So they should have privilege to live their own. How can we fulfill these kinds of demands? By formulating acts, Indian government tried to stop exploitation of tribals in the hands of forest officials as well. So as a tribe people, as a human being, they are equal to each other. The official cannot be dominate or used for personal use. They should not treat them as a slave. They are also a human being. They are also citizen of India. So even as citizen of India, they secure they have equal rights. So children, this is the lesson we should learn from the topic. We should not dominate the minority class based on the culture, based on the traditions, based on the money, based on the caste. So there is no discrimination among the people. If we have any authority, utilize the authority to improve the people. Help the lower caste people to come up, to overcome their struggle. As a human being, as a citizen, we should help each other. So we are all brothers and sisters in the country. So children, know this thing and follow in your future and present. Thank you.